I learned a lot during this project. It was definitely harder than I anticipated and involved a lot more time. However, it felt really rewarding once the end product was created because I had no knowledge of, how, to create the dimensions of a wing and learning the process and actually being able to do it. And then eventually creating my own glider using the dimensions that I made was really rewarding, and it really opened my eyes to the process that was involved to create, aircrafts and their flight surfaces. I learned a lot about the effect that weight had. I underestimated how detrimental weight is to the performance, especially of a glider that has no thrust. So I initially made my glider out of balsa wood and discovered that it was far too heavy, and it just didn't have enough propulsion force to give it enough lift to fly. So I changed to cardboard, which was a much better material. It was also really durable. Um, but it was a much better material in terms of the glide performance significantly increased. However, it still was slightly too heavy in my opinion. I also learnt about how the center of gravity had a big effect on the performance. So obviously, my first glider had a very long fuselage between the trailing edge and horizontal stabilizer area, and this in turn brought the center of gravity really far back, which involved bringing more weight forward, which had another big impact. So I would say that the biggest lesson I learnt was the effect of weight on the performance of a glider. The improvements I would make to my glider well, firstly, I needed to reduce the weight of it. I I would look to put a new fuselage in, so something of a more lightweight material or something a bit skinnier to reduce the weight, as that was a big factor that brought a lot of weight to the glider. I would also look at bringing, like integrating the ailerons into the actual wing rather than adding them on separately. Uh, One, this would reduce the weight as well, but also would just make a more streamlined aerofoil. I would also, yeah, I'd keep the wing design the same. I thought that performed very well. I would look to make a more sturdy vertical stabilizer, as having one sheet of cardboard meant that it blew around a bit in the wind. But this would be dependent on if I can reduce the weight in other areas. So ultimately, I would look to reduce the weight by minimizing the amount of material being used, especially in the fuselage. Thank you for watching.